Hello everyone, Chad Franzen here, and welcome to the Kingdom Finance Show. Today we are going to reveal what you really need to know about the economy, the stock market, and real estate. And we're going to give you action steps to take right now to become a Kingdom Impact investor. It's time to bring clarity out of chaos. Let's get started. Hello everyone, Chad Franzen back at the Kingdom Finance Show. Thanks for joining us. We're really glad you're here. Hey, check us out on Facebook, Chad Franzen Official. Follow us there. And as well as you can visit us online, wealthbuilders.net, to find out more about what we do to help you manage your finances in a way that brings clarity out of chaos using kingdom principles. So on today's episode, we're going to cover something that's been in the news quite a bit, and that is what is going on in the world of shopping at Target. That's right. Target is the latest installment in Go Woke, Go Broke. Bud Light has been in the news a lot, Anheuser-Busch, with their antics. And I'm not so much going to cover on this show what a lot of you have already read about that. What I want to cover it is from an impact investing perspective. As a kingdom investor, as if Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in Babylon, what do we do? And I want to speak to that from a financial standpoint. It's some of the things we've talked about in our household, and I want to share some of those things with you today on that. So unless you've been on a deserted island on a great vacation in Fiji, which I'm jealous of, then you've probably been aware of a lot of things going on with Pride Month paraphernalia at retailers such as Bud Light and Target have been some of the main ones. Target, of course, has worked with, Satanist clothing designers and tuck-friendly construction bathing suits, as well as onesies to brainwash young innocent children into gender confusion. And that's led to a huge backlash. In fact, Target stock is down about 20% since they reported earnings on May 17th. But interestingly, the Target CEO said that the expected $500 million that they expect to lose this year, that's right, Target expects to lose over $500 million this year, is blamed on crime and theft. Well, you always love the media because they always create a narrative to make you believe and be brainwashed. But I think we all know that there's a silent majority rising up here. And I want to speak to that and share some thoughts on really how, as Christians, how do we operate in Babylon when we think about where we shop, where we invest, and how do we be salt and light to those who need to hear about Jesus and they need to hear the way on that. I'm also going to share with you on today's episode, what are the top companies that own Target stock? And so obviously, my mind goes to a couple different places when I read stories like this about Target is, I think we should stop shopping there. But why don't we stop investing in the publicly traded shares of the company? That will probably get the attention of board members as well. I really think it's a threefold response that we need to follow here with Target. Is one, and I'm going to cover this in a minute. I want to introduce it. I think what's happening is a unified boycott. And so a lot of people will tell me, well, hey, it's everywhere. The pervasive culture of gender confusion. You can't even share your opinion if you're a professional athlete on Pride Month without being viewed as shallow and having to go into counseling to seek more education. But I really believe, and I'm going to share a story that I heard recently, that's these companies, these Targets and Anheuser-Busch, these companies, some of them we have to pinpoint and really go after in more of a public outcry of say, hey, this is not right. This is brainwashing. It's pervasive, and it's just not good for culture. So I think the first point is we need a unified shopping boycott, and I call this a public outcry. Now we can't do it on every company, but I want to share an example of this. What's happened is that enough people have gotten upset of Target putting clothing designed by a Satanist in their store and selling onesies that are brainwashing innocent children that they're fighting back. And so that's what has to happen is there has to be certain companies that we in a unified manner, we rally against. And then other companies will notice, Walmart in particular, they've been they've been much more discreet with what they're doing in response to what's happened with Target. Now, we know that the conservative Christian worldview voice is in the minority. However, there's many of us that if we would rally together like the liberals do to promote a one world agenda and all of their socialist manifestos, that we can make an impact. And so that's what's happening with Target. Target stock is down 20%. They're pulling back some of these items, and other retailers are taking notice. Now, many of you may have heard of a gentleman by the name of Dinesh D'Souza, and he's an Indian-American political commentator, filmmaker, writer. I had the opportunity to hear him speak recently. He had a documentary film in 2016 called Obama's America, very eye-opening. He did not make many friends in the liberal world whatsoever. And then also more recently, 2,000 Mules, which came out in 2022, talking about the election, the fraud in the election, most recent presidential election. So an interesting story. D'Souza, again, a New York Times best-selling author, brilliant mind. And so he wrote this book called America, Imagine the World Without Her. And it was based on his 2014 film of the same name, and Costco. So stay with me. I want to share a story here because I think this helps us understand how the movement of getting the kingdom voice out works. Costco pulled the book from its shelves shortly before the movie came out. And conservative media and fans on social media started to criticize the movement. And interestingly enough, there was about 10,000 people on Rumble and some of the tier 2 social media sites complaining about Costco's not gonna carry D'Souza's book and movie. They pulled it from the shelves. And a couple people said, well, why are we sitting here on tier 2 social media complaining about it? Let's go to Costco.com. And so an organic movement, again, D'Souza was not involved in this. These are just everyday, hardworking, tax-paying citizens that say, hey, why can't our voice be heard? Why can't the conservative films and books be carried at Costco just like the liberal books and films? Are we not still living in America? Are we in China? Was our freedom fought for? Is that why we celebrate soldiers who have given their lives for our freedom? And again, this is several years ago, and this organic movement of probably 10,000 Christians who are just fed up that Costco was doing this went on to Costco.com, and they started posting reviews, negative reviews on Costco's items. They posted pictures of them cutting up their executive membership cards on Costco, and it had a significant impact on Costco's sales. So much so that James Senegal, the co-founder, CEO of Costco, I believe, who's very involved in supporting the Democratic Party and the Obamas, he saw what was happening. It was affecting his bottom line, and he Flew Mr. D'Souza up to Seattle, and they had a conversation. And as the story goes, Dinesh was like, well, I have nothing to do with this. Clearly, you're not a great CEO. Your board of directors should probably fire you because you are pulling items that a lot of your loyal customers, your executive members, want to buy, and it's affecting your bottom line, your shareholders. And so what happened was, in this Costco example with Dinesh D'Souza, is there was just enough people that raised their voice loud enough in a unified manner that it got the attention of the CEO and board for Costco. And as the story goes, Costco ends up reordering the book and the movie, America, Imagine the World Without Her, and put it front stage in all of its stores at Costco after this fact. It was a business decision. It was not a political decision for Costco. And that is the point, is that a lot of retailers and media are going to have to recognize that they need to come back to be middle of the road and not be so polarized, to be ultra left liberal or even ultra right conservative, to be somewhere in the middle, to be like, you have been given a brain. You should be able to choose if you want to read a liberal leaning book or a conservative leaning book or movie, and allow the taxpayers, the consumers, to make their own decisions. So the story goes, Costco restocks it, and the rest is history. They appease the conservative voice to carry their products. Now, I share that example on today's show because, again, we're talking about Target and what do we do? What is our response as kingdom investors? We want to be kingdom impact investors. Well, it's the Costco example. And so if enough people boycott shopping at Target, boycott investing in Target, it will get the attention of the board. Because at the end of the day, what a public corporation or private corporation, what they want is profit. They're not really in the political game for anything other than profit. So if they recognize that, well, gosh, well, we know there's a strong liberal voice, and so we that's why we do some of the things we do and policies we do. But there's also this conservative voice, and so they actually add to our bottom line because they're consumers shopping in our products and investing in our products. So I think that's one of the major points I want to convey here. Now, I want to speak on, and I'm going to share before the end of the episode. I'm going to tell you what companies are the biggest shareholders in Target. And if you want to get a copy of this list, you can email us, info@wealthbuilders.net. That's info@wealthbuilders.net. We'll send you the list because I really want to encourage you. We have got to get our money that we're investing out of companies that are owning Target shares. Okay. So again, I think the retail spending boycott is good, but I think how we build on that is we actually have eyes to see of, well, how do we make sure our 401k, our retirement plans, our college accounts, that they're not investing in Target. And I can guarantee you that many churches, many Christian Bible-believing ministries have retirement plans and they are investing in Target. I can guarantee it because they don't know. They don't realize there are billions of dollars managed by Christians, Christian churches, Christian institutions, Christian entrepreneurs, everyday mom and pop, stay-at-home moms, retirees, and they don't realize that the money is supporting
extremists such as Target. And that is really what we have to change. So I'm going to share all that with you. Another point I want to make, I really want to encourage is that we live in Babylon. And, we think about Target and, they have the huge pride display with little kids' clothing that's attacking their gender and confusing them. And then behind it, we have the Magnolia display with Chip and Joanna Gaines. Now, I want to encourage you to think bigger here, because when Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were in Babylon, did not the people who did not know the true God, were they not looking at those four? Were those four not in the marketplace, in the city center, and those people were looking at Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and saying, something's different. There's something different about how they carry themselves. Wow, they're super healthy and they're fasting, they're not eating meat. And what I want to encourage us is that there are influence, there are entrepreneurs such as Chip and Joanna Gaines and Dallas Jenkins and others that we have to support them, because we cannot fully retract from the marketplace. Because otherwise, if it's just dark and demonic and confusing rhetoric and product, well, then how will people who don't know truly know? Romans 10:14 says, how then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. That's Romans 10:14 and 15. So my point here is some of you, 2 points. Some of you are called to be in the marketplace, in the area of, let's say, retail, public consumption. And you need to be in there, because just like Chip and Joanna Gaines or Dallas Jenkins, people are looking at you, and we have to be the salt and the light. So we can't run away. I personally think it's great that Chip and Joanna Gaines are selling their products at Target, because those who don't know the way of the Messiah, they need the light. And so even next to the darkness, there needs to be the light. I mean, that's the gospel. So I think we need to think bigger here, because not everyone, but some of our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ are going to be called to be there, and they will be persecuted, but they need to take a stand, and that is their way to bring the good news. So let me know what you think on that. Love to hear your comments. I think it's important. We have to know, regardless of what sphere of influence you're in the 7 mountains of culture, God will call you to be the light. And yes, we need to boycott, absolutely. But I also think we have to then be the light and offer the way, because otherwise, whatever the loudest voice is in culture is what people will follow. The sheep want to hear the voice. And so that's part of our role as kingdom business owners, kingdom entrepreneurs, for that. All right. Well, I think what I want to do now, I want to share with you some of the specific companies that are in. Yeah, I'm just pulling up my notes here. I did some research on this. Again, if you want this full list, send us an email, info@wealthbuilders.net. Now, here's my encouragement. I've talked to many of you, and what I often hear is, hey, I'm kind of good with my investments, because I feel like if I get out of a lot of these woke companies like JP Morgan and Target, I'm not going to make as high a rate of return. I want to assure you that that is not true, and I can show you statistically why that is. And point number 2, many of you who I've met through Wealth Builders will tell me, well, hey, Chad, I've got a great Christian financial advisor. I've known him or her. They're in my community for a number of years. And I don't want to end that relationship. And I'm good with that. But if the Holy Spirit has prompted you, if there's a burning in your heart to be like, you know what, I've got to do better with how I'm managing this money, then it's up to you to go to your financial advisor and have a really honest conversation of, hey, you know what, I'm not good with this. I love you. I appreciate our relationship. I want to keep working with you. But you know what? At the end of the days, each of us will stand before Jesus and give an account of what we stewarded, our time, our talents, our family, our businesses, our financial resources. Do you know that investing in a public company like Target or JP Morgan or Facebook is a form of ownership? Now, shopping at those places is not a form of ownership. So it's actually a higher standard. You're more complicit when you have a form of ownership in Target, in JP Morgan, in a BlackRock. And so that's one of the things I've been extremely convicted of personally is, wow, this is a form of ownership. Ownership is the ultimate expression of stewardship. And so what I encourage you is you need to go back to if you have a Christian financial planner, CPA, advisor, attorney, you need to have this conversation with them. And if you want to, connect them with me, I'll be happy to talk to them, because we have to get more and more financial professionals in the investment, tax, and legal arena that catch this, that say, you know what, this is not being a good disciple. We have to do it a better way on that. So that's really I want to challenge you on that. I know it will be a little bit uncomfortable, but the problem for you now is, you understand that these companies are behind a lot of these super woke liberal movements, and you actually have a decision to make on, will you commingle your spending and your investing dollars with them? All right. So again, I'll be happy to send you this full list. I'm just going to share a handful of these, some of the bigger ones. It goes as no surprise, drum roll please, that one of the top institutional shareholders of Target stock, one of the top ones is BlackRock. We've said to avoid BlackRock for some time. Actually, my records as of the end of the first quarter of 2023, the Vanguard Group was the number one institutional shareholder, owning close to $6 billion. The market value's gone down, but 42 million shares. BlackRock owns a little over 34 million shares of that. So what's likely is that you may be investing in BlackRock or Vanguard, and it's your money. Vanguard or BlackRock is investing it, and in this case, they put some of the money in Target. Well, did you know that as an owner in the investment, you have a right to vote at the annual shareholder meetings? And how many of you do that? But it's your money. You've put it in BlackRock or Vanguard, but you have actually abdicated the shareholder rights for voting, for board of directors, for policies, and Vanguard and BlackRock are voting those. And do you think that Vanguard or BlackRock are voting with your values and principles in mind? I can assure you that they are not. So that's a twofold problem. One, we don't need to be investing with these companies. And if we're going to invest in a Target, which I advocate we don't, but if you're going to, you need to at least be able to vote your proxy, which is your legal shareholder right to do, and not abdicate it. So Vanguard, BlackRock, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Interestingly, some of these banks, right? A lot of the big banks, JP Morgan as well, are large institutional holders of Target stock. Now, we've talked about the banks in the past. Here's another reason why to avoid doing business with and investing in big banks. They're supporting super woke agendas such as Target. Let me share a little bit about mutual funds as we wrap up here on today's Kingdom Finance Show. Again, Vanguard is going to be at the top of the list. There are several American funds. I know many of you invest in Vanguard and American funds. And in fact, I know many folks who work with like an Edward Jones broker or Raymond James, some of the just traditional, very good brokerage firms. You're probably going to be in these type of products. American funds, great manager, great track record. But I've got a list of 3 of their funds that are in the top 5 mutual funds that own Target stock. Now, once again, if you invest in American funds and in these particular funds that own Target, it's your money, but American funds is voting your proxy, which is your shareholder vote. And that's just not wise. And so we've got to avoid that. So Vanguard and American funds, mutual funds, there's also the big Fidelity 500 index fund is a large fund shareholder of that. I've got a whole list here. Again, love to get this into your hands. Email us at info@wealthbuilders.net. We'll send you the Target shareholder list. And just to close, I really want to challenge you to take the next step. Now, again, at Wealth Builders Investments, we'll be happy to visit with you, provide you a complimentary consult. For those of you that are existing clients, we're already screening these type of investments for you. If you've been following us for a while, you need to share this with friends and family. I mean, even one person. And I'm not saying that because I want them to become clients of our firm. I mean, we have a limited capacity for the number of families we can work with at a time. But we need to educate and engage with our friends and family and church members and community about these types of things. So I want to encourage you, share this. You can share this podcast. You can email us at info@wealthbuilders.net and get the Target shareholder list and share it. We have a great Pro Values Index, top 30 companies to boycott and top 30 companies to promote. There are still good companies in the public marketplace that do not violate Christian values, that have excellent shareholder returns on that. You can get the full Pro Values Index list at wealthbuilders.net/invest. So, hey, I know this has been challenging. It's been a contentious topic in the news, but I do think if we can really focus on intentionally staying out of shopping and investing in certain companies, I think Target's a great example, then this can help get the conservative principles of Jesus, right? I mean, we are Jesus followers at the end of the day, right? And we love everyone, but we don't endorse what they're doing, right? And so we have to love them like Jesus does, but we also have to take a stand because we do live in Babylon and people are watching. And so your children, your grandchildren, you want to be able to educate them. Do you really want to pay for your kid or grandkid's college education by investing in such companies that are doing such terrible things like Target? It's just not clean money to me. So again, I think that's the important takeaway. Take a look at what you're investing in. If you don't know, if you don't have clarity on this, reach out to us through the website or through the email that I've already shared, and our team will provide you a complimentary x-ray just to say, hey, how much exposure do I have to companies like JP Morgan or Target or Google? How exposed am I? If you're running a business and you have a business retirement plan, that's a lot of people. If you're running a church or a ministry and you offer a retirement plan, you need to find this out. We'll be happy to educate you on that, give you a complimentary I call it an X-ray analysis on that. I think that's a key takeaway for us. So, hey, I want to encourage you, stay strong. We need to keep our voice for conservative values, for First and Second Amendment rights, for pro-life, biblical marriage. We need to be light in the community. We need to show people the way. We need to love all people, but we cannot endorse what they're doing that goes in stark contrast to what Jesus taught and what the Word of God says. So I appreciate each of you for your heart, for the kingdom, for wanting to be a kingdom investor. And thanks for joining us today on the Kingdom Finance Show. Again, please connect with us. Follow us on Facebook at Chad Franzen Official. Please like and subscribe to our show, the Kingdom Finance Show. And I want to encourage you, please help us get the word out. Share this with other friends and family in your community and church, because the more we can educate and empower folks on, we're not powerless here. That is what the enemy wants us to think. But there's a movement as part of this third great awakening, and it does involve finance. It involves business and all the seven spheres of culture. So I'm excited to be a part of it with you. And thanks for joining us today on the Kingdom Finance Show. We will see you next time. God bless.
Thank you so much for joining me today on the Kingdom Finance Show. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps to get the word out. For more resources on becoming a kingdom investor and to connect with us directly, visit our website at wealthbuilders.net. That's wealthbuilders.net. We'll see you next time on the Kingdom Finance Show. The content provided is for educational purposes only. We encourage you to seek personalized investment advice from your financial professional. For all tax and legal advice, please consult your CPA or attorney. Investment advisory services are offered through Authentic Counsel, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Cabin Securities, a registered broker-dealer. The content of this podcast does not constitute an offer of securities. Offerings can only be made through an offering memorandum, and you should carefully examine risk factors and other information contained in the memorandum.